A Brief Monologue on the Individual by Austin Andrews. That's me. Of all the cancers, humanity truly is the worst. We wake in the morning and suffer. We lie down at night and suffer. We spend all times in between bouncing from one misery to the next. Truly, all things in the dogma of humanity is incredible suffering. There is no but to this, no silver lining. Our greatest triumphs and accomplishments are built upon mountains of corpses and discontent. Those we choose to lead us ultimately fail, especially in the time we need the most. Those we look to for protection relish in our perceived groveling. Moreover, to put the icing on the rotten cake of desperation, we bash, berate, and murder one another, uncaring of the bonds we share with those we love the most. The propagation of humanity is akin to the success of a swarm of rabid rodents or similar vermin, and much like a swarm of vermin in our darkest hour, we shall tear each other apart. It will perhaps be for survival, but in truth, because of the doctrine of ultimate evil etched within the very soul of every person. Indeed, the end times had begun with humanity making its first folly, and will end with the same bitter mistake. Who is at the heart of this? Yes, the individual. One filthy drone against the billions. Theirs, like most, is a wretched life, one filled with endless responsibilities, all of which only serve to wear down its meager life energy. Within this vessel is the capacity for horrible evil, and not much else. These verses are the stripped view of the human facet throughout all of time, and since the golden individual has far eluded us, and since then, the golden individual has far eluded us. The golden individual, mocking and eternally precious, next to truth is the ultimate value. Imagine being free, in a great sense, from the pangs of avarice, hatred, and prejudice. To be infallible and immune to the temptations of murderous doctrines, which plague our very history. Always seeking the betterment of self and, in turn, the well-being of others. To see one another as an endless bunching of unforeseen thoughts, emotions, and values, unique in every way, is to invoke this sacred thing unto others. Impossible is the achievement of the golden individual, though perhaps the world can be made better for trying. Thank you. Tell us about the ocean. Hi, Mike.
Hey.
We're back. We're back. We did fascism. Now we're doing intersectionality.
Yeah, you should explain what that is, because I have no idea.
I will, but I need to pay homage to the people who are making this possible. Biodynamic. If you'll notice, there is a box here in front of us.
Those are 2 boxes.
2 boxes here in front of us. For what are these? What are these bird in-ear headphones, Mike?
Yeah.
Ones we're wearing around our very necks.
They're good. We tried them out.
Yeah, they're actually really good. I was listening to some questionable content, and I was very... they're very good headphones. You can find them on Biodynamic's website, Amazon. Look them up. They're fantastic. Please buy them. Support the show. Thank you very much. All right. Intersectionality, Mike.
That monologue was very depressing.
It was pretty good, though, wouldn't you say? I tried.
Yeah,
I tried really hard on it. I did it in the wee hours of 4 a.m.
I mean, rabbits are cute. I wouldn't call them vermin.
Wait, what?
Was it rabbits or rats?
I said rodents.
You said, and more rodents.
No, I said rodents and similar vermin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like cockroaches?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh.
Basically. All right, so intersectionality, Mike. Intersectionality is an analytic framework that attempts to identify how interlocking systems of power impact those who are most marginalized in society. Intersectionality considers that various forms of social stratification, such as class, race, sexual orientation, age, religion, creed, disability, and gender, do not exist separately from each other, but are interwoven together. So,
What? Let me see this.
No, I can explain it, like, basically, it's a way of basically breaking down the facets of society to identify who has power and who doesn't, and basically how the way that the marginalized people in society, like the facets that make them marginalized, like sort of come together. You understand?
Yeah.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Yes. Let's just keep going. I'll get it.
All right. While the theory began as an exploration of the oppression of women of color within society, Today, the analysis is potentially applied to all social categories, including social identities usually seen as dominant when considered independently. In 1989, Kimberlé Crenshaw became the first person to use the word intersectionality in the context of feminism. The first use of the term was in a crucial 1989 paper written by Crenshaw for the University of Chicago Legal Forum, demarginalizing the intersection of race and sex, a black feminist critique of anti-discrimination doctrine, feminist theory, and anti-racist politics. Which, I mean, I haven't necessarily read. Like, there's going to be a lot of names and a lot of works because all of this came from the universities. It really did during these times. And I definitely suggest to anybody who wants to learn more about intersectionality and these people to definitely look them up and look up their works because they are, I mean, I believe they're pretty well cited. So, not to say that they're necessarily like 100% credible, but you got to read it first. Don't be like me. Don't like, you know.
Yeah, like 2 o'clock in the morning. You're like, oh man, I gotta read this episode.
I mean, what? No. In her work, Crenshaw discussed black feminism, which argues that the experience of being a black woman cannot be understood in terms of being black and of being a woman considered independently, but must include interactions between the two identities, which frequently reinforce each other.
Oh, I get it. So like, oh, okay. So
basically, like, you can't
view. Yeah, like if a person's two separate things, you can't view them as two separate things. You have to view them as the same thing combined.
Exactly.
Is that like the whole point?
Well, let me continue. The term gained prominence in the 1990s, particularly in the wake of sociologist Patricia Hill Collins' further development of Crenshaw's work in her writing on black feminism. Crenshaw's term replaced her previous coinage, black feminist thought, and increased the general applicability of her theory from African American women to all women. Much like Crenshaw, Collins argued that cultural patterns of oppression are not only interrelated, but are bound together and influenced by intersectional systems of society, such as race, gender, class, etc. Collins described this as interlocking social institutions that have relied on multiple forms of segregation to produce unjust results. So that's, I guess, a bit of a intro on intersectionality.
I finally got it. I mean,
wait, what?
I understand it. If I can understand it, you know.
Anybody can.
Yeah, basically.
But what do you think of that, Mike?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it makes perfect sense.
You think so?
Yeah, like you can't just define one person by one thing.
It's like, yeah,
because like there's clearly something that makes it different.
Yeah.
Like if you say like, oh, that rabbit over there is, you know, fluffy. That rabbit over there doesn't have ears and it's like really tall and it's a dog. Obviously, there's a difference.
It's a dog. Well, I mean, obviously, well, it's also talking about like how these facets of people's identity like interplay into how they impact each other largely in society. Like, I mean, the system is obviously made up of like, you know, people, and the facets that make them up are obviously contributing to like how society like operates on a whole. So like I guess let me see. I guess in terms of oppression, like, you know, the people who are viewed as the acceptable ones in society have particular traits about them that make them like, you know, acceptable, and people who don't have those traits are further from those traits, like, you know, are seen as, I guess, somewhat inferior. But like, you can't just like be like, oh, it's because you're not white or it's because you're not this or whatever. You gotta. It's also like several. It's basically like it's trying to like take apart like what exactly is keeping certain people oppressed, generally. Like it's not just because they're women, and it's not just because they're men. It's just or whatever. It's because also you're a woman. Maybe you have a lazy eye. Maybe you have like a weird looking birthmark. Maybe maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe you have like stinky feet, something like that. Whatever part of you is causing. Well, there's just multiple parts of you that are causing, like, you know.
If you're unappealing to look at, no one really wants to look at you.
It's just like kind of simplifying, but it's also like.
Because I knew a girl with a lazy eye, and yeah, no one wanted to talk to her. Well, it's not because she had a lazy eye. It's also because she had a lazy eye and she had bad skin and she was mean.
Well, I guess you can make the argument that she's being somewhat oppressed, because of
Yeah.
yeah, because like I mean, why can't we just be accepting of like lazy eyes and bad skin and assholery?
Well, you could have a lazy eye and bad skin. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, I'm not trying to say if you have both together, it's worse. But
Well, is it? Isn't it?
this is like a question. This is like a whole loaded question type deal here.
Well, because it's
I don't
not...
want to drive away our bad skin and lazy eye fan base.
Listen, don't worry.
I just wake up one day, my eyes like looking that way. I'm terrified of that. I always have like, I'm so afraid of my eyes being like screwed, worse than they are already.
No, yeah, I know how I feel. I have those weird dreams where you lose all your teeth. Like a lot.
Yeah, no,
Those are bad. Those are really bad.
I mean, my dad lost his eye. I'm afraid it's like a family thing.
How do you lose it?
You won't tell me.
No. Well, anyway. All right, some key concepts. Excuse me. About intersectionality, Mike. First one, interlocking matrix of oppression. That's what it's called. That's what I just basically just explained. It's called. Like about how if you have a lazy eye and bad skin, those kind of...
As a matter of fact, yeah, she is oppressed because when I was a kid and I was fat, no one wanted to be my friend either. So yeah, they are oppressed.
In a way, yeah, I guess.
Well, I had friends, but like someone was like, "Yeah, he's fat." I'm like, well, there's only like 30 kids in the class. One of us is bound to be fat. Like, what do you want from me?
You rolled about poorly. Anyway. Collins referred to the various intersections of social inequality as the matrix of domination. This is also known as vectors of oppression and privilege. Oh, this is also known as vectors of whatever. These terms refer to how differences among people, sexual orientation, class, race, age, whatever, serve as oppressive measures towards women and change the experience of living as a woman in society. So if you notice, like, this is directed strongly towards women.
Yeah, you brought up the word feminist quite a bit in the intro. Yeah.
But let me ask you a question, Mike.
What?
Can't the same rules be applied to men?
Yeah, if you want to piss off like a lot of people, sure.
See, Mike, you're smarter than you let yourself off to be. I'm telling you. But no, like, but.
Yeah, I think of like the obvious, like.
Okay, but like, maybe let me ask you a question. Would you say that you, in some fashion, are oppressed? Hold on. Don't use the framework that they're using here. Use your own framework, because I don't want you to necessarily use this one.
Nah, not really.
Why not?
Because I have like plenty of opportunity to do like whatever I want, I guess. I mean, oppression could, like, someone could walk up to me and like shoot me in the face, and I guess then I'd be oppressed because
stop oppressing me.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
I think oppression could be like is not like as wide scale as people think it is. Like anyone could oppress anything, and as many people as they want.
Well, don't you find the fact that you are prone to, well, not you specifically, but just being human in general, like, has you prone to illness? Like, don't you find that to be a form of oppression?
No, it's just nature. Like everything could do that.
Well, I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
The only thing that can't get sick is like a virus itself.
Well, how do you define depression then?
By being restricted by someone else who.
Someone else? Does that have to be someone?
Yeah, it does.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Like,
nature can't oppress you. If you're in the middle of a desert and you're dying because you don't have any water, it's your fault. Why are you there?
Why are you there? Well, I mean, I don't necessarily agree. I think that if we're going to talk about like reasons,
the desert owes you water.
No, it's not. No, Mike, you gotta think for a second. Imagine, like, because the way that they're describing oppression here is basically just something that is like a restrictive element that is causing you to find your like greatest potential in your environment.
Speaking of water, I'm thirsty again.
But like, you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'd say.
I mean, I don't agree though. I feel like the oppression part, like, I don't think the nature could oppress you.
Maybe
it could be oppressing, but. Oh yeah, I broke the vending machine.
No, but being oppressed by the vending machine.
The submarine's vending machine. Remember, this is an underwater pod. We're underwater.
Exactly.
Sea bricks and all that. Sea vending machines.
Sea vending machine.
Like, yeah, I'm underwater. Oh, yeah. So, someone broke the vending machine, it wasn't me. But if someone broke the vending machine, am I being oppressed because the vending machine broke?
The vending machine oppressed you.
No, but it didn't because like.
Well, it depends. Well,
it's
again, it depends on how you like. Okay, so let's say there's water in the vending machine. You can really use that water. Someone literally just went along and just fucking broke it.
I mean, theoretically, I could just like break the glass and take it all.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's not acting like lawful. Yeah, exactly. It's not acting like. Well, for one thing, it's not acting lawfully, and it's just creating like chaos to like further your own aims. So okay, so actually, that's a very important point.
What if I give everybody else water and stuff?
Well,
I'm only oppressing those who oppressed my liquids into a glass container. So if I take that away and distribute these things for free, wouldn't I suddenly be good?
Mike the anarcho-communist.
Well, it makes sense on that scale, I guess. If everyone in the room is like dying of thirst and like it was like 1,000 degrees, like, oh, we need water. It's like, all right, I'll go break the vending machine. I'll get you water.
Yeah.
It had to be done.
All right. So, okay, so then you basically, like,
Doesn't really mean the vending machine was oppressing me, though.
Well, no, I mean, what like...
If anything, I'm oppressing the vending machine.
Well, the simple fact that you need money in order to access the vending machine, don't you think that's, like, a form of oppression? If you, like, desperately need some water.
No, because it costs money to get the friggin' water there.
Well, why do things need to cost money? Why can't we just, like, have a society that where to everybody to each everybody's needs and to everybody their wants, or whatever the fuck Marx said? Like, why can't, like, what if the greatest the thing that's holding us back, the absolute worst, is the fact that we have to put value on things? Like, why can't we eliminate all forms of oppression by just making things free and equal for all peoples in the world?
Because we need money.
I mean, yeah.
Because we didn't have money. If we just got everything for free, where are we going to, like, live?
We just live with what we got. We distribute it, etc. This is what's considered Marxist feminist thought. Yeah.
See, like, look, we just got water for absolute free.
Yeah.
The art of the deal, right there.
Oops.
Damn, that's good freaking water.
Yeah. Magic. All right. Next topic in intersectionality, standpoint epistemology and the outsider within. It's more difficult to understand words, but let's see here. A standpoint is an individual's unique world perspective. All right. The theoretical basis of this approach views societal knowledge as being located within an individual's specific geographic location. So let me repeat that because it's important. The theoretical basis of this approach... What?
No, just go on.
The theoretical basis of this approach views societal knowledge as being located within an individual's specific geographic location.
But I just said the desert doesn't owe you water.
No, like, hold on, let me finish. In turn, knowledge becomes distinctly unique and subjective. It varies depending on the social conditions under which it's produced. So let me repeat that last part because it's also very important. Knowledge becomes distinctly unique and subjective. All right, it's very postmodern. It's a very postmodern idea. It varies depending. Well, I mean, okay. So let me just preface this by saying like this has a lot of grounding in postmodern thought and maybe in some ways Marxist thought, and like it's all very difficult and
Did not say communist about it.
Wait, what?
Wait, no, Marx was not a communist.
Marx just had, he came up with, he wrote the Communist Manifesto, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote, there's Das Kapital,
But isn't communism bad?
Well, we'll have to observe that one day, but, I mean, the large consensus, especially during the McCarthy era, that it was bad. And, like, for the most part of the 20th century, it was deemed as bad, but for some people it was seen as a net benefit, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to find out more about it. We'll have to do a dive episode on like the communist revolutions and their outcome. But
sure.
But yeah, like basically it's saying that the individual's experience varies on geographic location and their unique experiences throughout all of life. So that's a true statement, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
The concept of the outsider within refers to a unique standpoint encompassing the self.
That paper's oppressing you.
Family and society, it is. This relates to the specific experience to which people are subjected as they move from a common cultural world, i.e. family, to that of modern society. Therefore, even though a woman, especially a black woman, may become influential in a particular field, she may feel as though she does not belong. Their personalities, behavior, and cultural being overshadow their value as an individual. Thus, they become the outsider within.
Oh, like I don't know, like Whoopi Goldberg or something.
What?
She's a black woman and she's a celebrity. Like The View, like isn't whatever the hell it's called.
I think so.
That thing like my mom probably watches maybe.
Well, I mean, it's basically saying how like, if when you go from like just being oriented more towards your family and then being part of like modern society, you'll realize that in a society where you're not so much the dominant like facet of your culture, when you like rise to a position of prominence, which is which I'm assuming they're implying is populated mostly by people who are not like you, then the experiences that you have growing up, because remember, the black woman's experience is unique, like according to the intersectional feminists.
It kind of reminds me of how my parents have absolutely no idea what I do every Wednesday night. It's like, oh, where are you going? Gonna go hang out.
But when you reach I guess the world of prominence, you feel like you don't belong because there's nobody to sort of. I'm guessing that's what this is implying, but it's implying that there's nobody really.
No, it makes
represent
sense.
you.
It's basically saying you bust into a field that there's not many people like you in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when Obama got president or something.
Exactly. That was the first time an African American ever became president.
Yep, it was.
Yeah. So obviously there's something they were doing something right. Obviously, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe you'll be the second.
Hey, yeah. Vote for me. For free episodes of Tales from Bondage. Imagine it's the president.
Your presidency is a paradigm. Imagine that'd be crazy.
My fellow Americans
buy these headphones.
Buy these headphones to support my presidency. No, but that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
The idea of
what party would you even run under? Because I forgot, aren't you independent or something?
Tales from the Ocean Party.
Oh, word, yeah. We're gonna start a new party and just change the entire constitution.
No, change the geopolitical landscape of the entire country.
Newest amendment.
Vote.
Newest amendment. Listen to our podcast.
Everybody gets free copy of the first season.
DVD and Blu-ray.
Are Blu-rays even still a thing?
Yes.
Oh.
When's the last time you bought a DVD? Well, yeah, when is the last time you bought a DVD? I just either go on Netflix or pirate it. Don't pirate our podcast, or else we'll personally find you in pirate hats.
We'll forget. Yeah, exactly. Cutlasses. We'll send an ICBM to your house.
Honestly, if someone pirated our show, I'd be like, "What the? It's free. Why are you pirating it?"
It's also bad. Why are you doing that? No, if you seem a little distracted, it's because we're thirsty.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't drank anything in years.
Yeah, but still, intersectionality is pretty riveting stuff, isn't it? Oppression and whatnot, black women. All right, so. Last facet of intersectionality, at least that's what the information I gather is saying, is resisting oppression. Resist, Mike. You gotta be
gamers rise up.
Resist. Gamers are oppressed. Come on, it's an oppressed class. That's what it comes from.
They're really not.
They are. Come on, let's be honest.
Dude, they can make 6 figures playing video games for competition, which is perfectly fine.
You gotta be good at it though.
And you do have to be good at it. But if you could make a living,
or you can just make spurgy noises on the camera all day.
All right, but the thing is, if you could actually make money off of it on your own accord, you're not really oppressed.
You think so?
If people if esports were outlawed, then they're oppressed.
Well, okay, so let's
a male on Twitch versus a female on Twitch.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, those.
Well, it's just
those female
that's the thing, but that's intersectionality though, because The thing is with though is like you can't just view them as gamers. That becomes now a male gamer versus female gamer thing.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna say
it's
gamers
woman.
rise up, are you gonna include the female gamers or the male gamers? And the fact that I'm actually taking this into a serious consideration is nuts because I just made fun of it 2 seconds ago. But it actually kind of makes sense. Like that makes.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of mind blown. That all actually makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, intersectionality gets a pretty bad rep, and I kind of do wish I included the criticism because it doesn't actually make a lot of sense. But I'll talk about like some of them that I
Well,
remember.
it makes sense because you can't like look at one thing. That I guess we're going to use gamers. But
what about the ones who are also black and women? What about the
exactly
the
like
ones who are white and women? You know,
like the gaming community could be. I don't even play video games, by the way, even though I look like it. I haven't played. Last game I played was
Minesweeper. No.
Minesweeper. I think like my calculator on my freaking computer. But no, it makes sense though. Like you can't just like there's different facets of oppression in that one group as well.
Yeah.
So to say the whole group's oppressed, but you're not considering everybody.
What about the trans gamers, dude?
Yeah.
What about the
Like and they get looked down upon, like the LGBT.
It's like you can basically
community.
you can use literally any number and letter you want. It's like that much at this point.
Yeah, but like it makes sense because sometimes they get oppressed in that group, but the whole group is oppressed.
There's actually a number.
And they don't.
Yeah.
They don't really.
I forget what it stands for, but there's a 2 in there.
Some people in oppressed groups oppress other people in their group.
That's also true, Mike. I think in feminist theory, I think they call that internalized, etc. Like internalized trans.
So it kind of sounds like it's
Whatever.
human nature then. Because then, like, if something, even if you and someone next to you are both being oppressed, you could also still oppress that person because they're not exactly like you.
So let me give you an example. Like, okay, let's say there's 2, I guess, black fellas. One needs glasses and one doesn't. So, like, I mean,
You got astigmatism. Like, what is that? That's not funny.
so no, but what I'm saying is, like, I mean,
Oh, you can't see.
it's a able. Well, I guess they'd call that ableism, where like they prefer someone who can actually see without glasses as someone who doesn't.
Well, yeah, I guess if you had to pick
then-
them to like.
But then, like, what you gotta understand is that, like, hold on, like, another thing about, like, you know, intersectionality is that, like, the role of liberation falls on those who, well, the role of the liberator also mostly falls on those who are, like, not oppressed.
Yeah, but like, all right, let's go back to the 2 fellows with one of them needs glasses. Like, how is he being oppressed? Like, I understand, like, you can't wear glasses. Let's say, I think you have to have 20/20 vision to like fly a jet or whatever.
Yeah, what if they're
But
both?
that
What if they
makes-
want to both go to the Air Force?
But that makes perfect sense though, because like you might be being oppressed for a good reason. Because if you lose your glasses or they break, you're gonna be like plummeting to the ground.
Ah,
probably in
so
a jet.
okay, so let me ask you this, Mike. The fact that let's say one of these black fellows, you know, had an IQ that was substantially high, and the other had like an IQ that was fairly average. And like, let me just say, by the way, that IQ tests are for anybody who is thinking maybe like I used to, IQ tests are actually like literally the best way we can determine like someone's success.
Well, yeah, but who's like the harder worker? Like, I still want to read both their resumes.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, conscientiousness and IQ like has a lot to.
Because like your
say, like,
intelligence
about
is only
your
so
success.
much is if you don't do anything with it.
Well, yeah, that's where consciousness comes into play. Like the way you organize yourself. But like, let's say like, you know, well, like as a general rule, like saying both of them have like differences in like overall IQ. I mean, like, yeah, these are things that you should also take into the These are things you also need to take into consideration. Like, okay, let's say the one who has like, let's say the one who's like actually could be like an incredibly amazing pilot just has like the eye problems, and the other one, like, you know, it could be an okay problem, but like okay pilot, but he has pretty good eyes. Like, these are things that, according to intersectionality, you have to take these into account in order to, like, you know, properly make the best decision. You know. So why don't we judge people based on like how they are oppressed in society and act accordingly? Should we?
If they're good at what they do, yeah.
Okay.
But if they're not good at it, then no.
Okay, so like, well, if we lived in a solely meritocratic society, then let's say in the universities, it would just be primarily dominated by Asians, and this is actually something that's going on, where Asian groups are suing, like the university.
Oh yeah, like Harvard, I know, is getting in trouble for that.
For basically, they're getting sued for discrimination because the Asian people are like submitting their applications and they're getting turned down like collectively for like not being well rounded enough.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously not to get political, but I mean, wouldn't you say that they're being oppressed?
Well, I thought it was because they like assumed that they would do way better and like they need to, well, like they deserve it, but other races also need to get in there, so like turned down like Asians in like droves. Like that was the problem.
Well, yeah, but at that point, can you say that it's being meritocratic? Like why is it that like I'm the most qualified for this position in this university? Why am I being turned down because of my race? Isn't that racist?
Yeah, it's pretty racist.
Well, actually, no, it's not, because according to intersectionality, the for one thing, racism equals power plus prejudice. So while you can argue that the college may be being a little prejudiced, it's all for the greater good because you're helping an oppressed class of people, the blacks, or whatever other race that's not dominant in society or in the university.
Yeah, but if they... All right, let's say their grades are like the exact same, I'd probably be like, all right, it's just a matter of like, I guess, choosing which one.
Yeah.
Which, if it was in my case, I'd just be like, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. But, like, if, like, let's say the Asian, like, was substantially better than whoever else, like, oh,
which
yeah.
They on average are, yeah.
Which they, on average, are. I'm like, all right, let him in. I don't know, 'cause you just want your school to have, like, the better name, I guess.
Best people, I guess. But, like, but what does that do for, like, I guess, diversity? Like, like, why can't we just like put equal amounts of like every type of oppressed people in there? Like, why can't we just help these? Why can't we help? Like, because it's obvious that like a quality education like brings people out of. Like,
if you really wanted to make it complicated, you could have like, to make sure nobody gets discriminated, but everyone who deserves it gets in. You could split up. Like, maybe there's one white person who hires white people, one black person hires black people, one Asian person hires Asian people. Picks the best out of all those groups and then puts them all in. So that way it's still diverse and everyone's still, like, everyone who deserved it the most got in.
To, like, have sort of,
You'd have to pay, like, 15 different people, though.
And, like, you'd have to, like, divvy up the registration board and, like, into...
Yeah, but if we really need to make things, like... If we want to make things fair for everybody in every aspect, you might as well.
Well, isn't it already fair? Like, hey, you need these contest scores, etc.
Well, it's not fair to the Asians who are getting screwed over.
Well, yeah, but they're being screwed over because of the need to push diversity.
So I guess everyone's getting screwed over then. Like, it might as well not even try.
Dude, this is... Listen.
Like, what do you even have to go to Harvard, though? That's another thing. Like, you go to other schools.
Well, dude, Harvard, like, the name. I went to Harvard.
Yeah, but soon enough...
to us gamers, it doesn't sound like anything. So it's like, oh, you went to Harvard? Oh,
yeah, but, like, imagine... All right, so let's say all the controversy surrounding Harvard, like, rips the name apart. Then no one's going to want to go there. It's like, oh, you went to Harvard? Oh, you must be racist. Like, or it probably won't come to that, but...
Maybe it will.
It could, yeah.
There was this one show that was... Okay, so like there was this one show, like it was pretty bad in my opinion.
What
like,
was it?
It wasn't. I don't know if it wasn't a bad show. I don't necessarily remember the name honestly, but it was a Netflix original, and it was this guy who was like basically he was offering his critique of like the whole situation. He was basically saying to like the Asian like groups who were suing, like, hey, you're the problem. And that's it.
Stop being smart. It's not even like they're all smart though. Like there's
most of them are just smart. Are smarter than us. Way smarter than us.
I don't know. I feel like I'm the smartest person there. No, I'm kidding. Yeah,
Right,
I guess they are. So I don't know, man.
It's
but like, it's another thing though. Like maybe it's another problem that like maybe it's not a race getting like. Maybe it's like intelligence. Like maybe other people's strengths are not used enough in the workforce or like anything. Like maybe you're smarter. But what if I'm stronger? Where do I come in?
Well, I mean, let me preface this again by saying this again. IQ, we like the methods that we have to study IQ are actually like pretty like IQ is like the best thing that we have like we can measure. Like there's in sociological sort of like structures, superstructures. There's a lot of either junk science or stuff that is like really up in the air, but IQ, as I've been told, and
All right, so let's put it this way. Let's say you need a high IQ to build a skyscraper, but you need men who are able-bodied to build it. How is your idea that you used with your IQ going to get off the ground if you don't have strong people to build it? Like, in that case, shouldn't people who were strong enough to build it be being paid just as much?
I have the answer for you.
Oh, yeah?
Automation.
Well, then, yeah, and then intelligence will be the only thing that's relevant.
Yep.
And then robots will replace that because they'll get higher intelligence, and then the intelligent humans will get wiped out anyway.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's what they predict might happen. Yeah.
Then isn't, like, just going solely based on intelligence a bad idea? And wouldn't automation make the humans probably pretty lazy?
Maybe. Like, these are things that people have been, like, pondering over, but they say that space, like, they say that automation is the future for a classless society. But, like, is that a net benefit for all of humanity?
No, because if Arnold Schwarzenegger busts through my house and shoots me in the face, no, it's not.
Why him specifically?
Terminator?
Oh.
Skynet? Why him specifically? It's like you've never watched
oh my God.
anything ever.
Well, we're not talking about Terminator, Jesus.
But but we're talking about automation screwing over humanity, and that's what Skynet did.
Oh yeah. But it has to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, exactly.
I guess I should have said the Terminator, because his name's not Arnold Schwarzenegger in that freaking instance. It's like, who are you? Arnold.
I'm Arnold. Resisting oppression. We didn't even get to
that's a good point, though. That's a good point, though. Speaking of strength, and speaking of Arnie.
What?
He's strong, charismatic, and looks good, and he's a big actor, and that's another way to get money.
Yep.
So are handsome people... Oh, yeah, obviously handsome people are, like, better off immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and strong people. Because what if you're weak? What if you're chronically weak?
But what if you're smart, too? Then you could just, like, smart your way through everything.
Could you?
And
yeah,
work.
Mostly,
and work, but, like, maybe in, like, a real-life situation you have to get out of, you could perish because you just weren't good enough to get out of it.
Well, let me just finish.
Which is another problem.
Well, let me finish my original thought by saying IQ is our best measure of determining people's success in the world. Like the highest IQ individuals are the most like.
But isn't success like subjective?
Well, maybe, but like I mean, the way that we as a society determine success, as like to measure it is by typically how much money they earn, and that's how most people in the world determine their success. So. Who are we as a bunch of like undersea gamers to fucking say that just like
what about inheritance? You have to be smart to inherit.
Well, actually, most inheritance actually like falls out of the family within like 3 generations.
All right, but like if it's still there, then that's not the case.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is like it's not just like a never-ending line of children who just like are rich forever. It's like the like most generations down the line just squander it really badly.
I guess.
Yeah. All right, so resisting oppression. This is the last thing on intersectionality. And then we have some quotes if we want. Speaking from a critical standpoint, Collins pointed out that Britton and Maynard, which is just another name in intersectionality. Like, there's going to be a lot of names that I didn't define, because if I did, then we'd just be here for hours. But Britton and Maynard say domination always involves the objectifications of the dominated. All forms of oppression imply the devaluation of the subjectivity of the oppressed. She later notes that self-valuation and self-definition are 2 ways of resisting oppression. Practicing self-awareness... Practicing self-awareness helps to preserve the self-esteem of the group that is being oppressed and allow them to avoid any dehumanizing outside influences. So that's actually like a pretty tame way of like resisting oppression, but let's continue. Marginalized groups often gain a status of being an other. In essence, you are an other if you are different from what Andre Lorde calls the mythical norm. Others are virtually anyone that differs from the social schema of an average white male. So like I said, this is being...
Am I an average white male?
I don't know, are you?
Probably like not average. Probably like some other word.
Well, like I said, this you gotta understand that this is within the framework of
The time.
Well, I actually don't know when third wave feminism started, but I think it started around here. This is in the framework of third wave feminism, so you have to understand that the consensus in third wave feminism was that most marginalized groups are being oppressed by able-bodied straight white men.
Which is not even true because it's apparently the smarter white men.
Hmm?
Apparently, it's smart men.
I mean, yeah,
It's not able-bodied. It's smart people.
That's what the data is telling us. Like, I mean, if you have an extremely high IQ, which by the way, white people aren't even doing the best in society. In fact, like nowadays, most of suicides, in fact, almost all of suicides are white people, and the people who are doing the best in society in America are Asians, and the people who are doing best in Britain are Indians.
So are we oppressed?
Well, no, because you're straight and white, and there's most of you in power, and blah, 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 blah.
I want more money.
Get more headphones. Buy these headphones.
I'd be gaining headphones, but I would still have to pay for them.
You gotta.
Second time
I give you a
around.
nightstand. You have to pay for that, but
Yeah, but I've finagled my way to get a cheaper price.
you got it for $5 less.
$10 because it made me pay for gas.
Oh yeah.
Well, $15 then actually.
Well, yeah, fair enough. All right.
Good money.
Gloria Anzaluda. Bless you.
God, thank you.
Guess you're allergic to Anzaluda.
Yeah.
Theorizes that the sociological term for this is othering, are specifically attempting to establish a person as unacceptable based on a certain criterion that fails to be met. So I guess those people who have poor eyesight are being othered by the Air Force recruiters.
Maybe worried like a desk job or something. I wouldn't want to if I joined the Air Force. I'd be pissed. I want to fly plane, but
Yeah. Pick berry in the sky. All right, Mike. So that's like that's basically like the
this sounds like the kind of This sounds like the kind of topic that like if you complicate it too much, no one's gonna get it. Like that was perfect. Complicating it any further seems unnecessary.
Well, another thing. Okay, so
And there you go.
No, where I got this from, right?
Wikipedia.
Yeah. No, but like the page neutralized it really badly. So a lot of their works are primarily directed towards the white not just the white working class, but the white society in America.
It's one of those Wikipedia articles you read at like 3 a.m. when you're trying to go to bed. I do that all the time. Breeds of dogs. Sorry, let's read through the entire list.
Dude, like, isn't it a miracle that we have all this information at our fingertips, basically?
Yeah, to bore ourselves with, or to like friggin' use as a way to try to fall asleep.
No, but you can basically learn anything you want. Isn't that crazy?
Like learn how to. I don't know.
Okay, so if you can learn anything you want, what's essentially stopping you from just doing anything you want?
Because I can't show up to a job interview. It's like, oh, I looked it up on Google at like 10 minutes before this. It's like, oh, but where's your piece of paper? What piece of paper? The degree. Oh, yeah. I don't need that because I looked it up on Google. Like, you just, like, you can't really self-teach. Like, a lot of things you can't self-teach.
Why can't you just...
Like, that's like if you tried self-teaching yourself boxing, you step in the ring, you're probably going to die.
Well, yeah. But, like, okay,
if you self-teach yourself nuclear physics and you walk into a power plant, you'll probably destroy the entire planet.
Well, hold on. Well, if
like Homer Simpson.
Well, hold on. What if why couldn't you just take let's say you learn a lot from books. Why don't you just like take a loan out and start a business and then be exceptionally well in that business and then be successful? You don't need a degree necessarily.
I guess you could.
Well, you can do what my father did and like learn how to code. And he doesn't really necessarily get a degree in it, but like he earns a lot despite not having a degree. But
some
competent.
Some employers just want to see what you do and don't even look at your degree,
especially in the computer industry.
Yeah, I guess I don't really know.
Yeah,
just lie. Like, oh yeah, I went to Harvard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you can do that.
That's funny because I was in Harvard too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, really? Oh, that's crazy.
Asian guy says I wasn't. I wonder why. No. All right. So some quotes. You want to do some quotes?
No.
Okay.
Nah. All right. Let's go ahead.
No. All right. Hold on. Some good water. All right. This is a good one. This is loaded as hell, and kind of needs to be broken down from case to case. But I mean, most people won't break it down because most people understand what it means. But still, we're skeptics around here, aren't we? If you are neutral in times of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. Desmond Tutu.
Oh, it's like that quote where it's like, oh, the only bad thing good men could do is do nothing or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of.
What? Do it again.
If you are neutral in times of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor.
Well, what about all that, like, peaceful protesting thing, like Gandhi?
I heard this really funny joke. It was like this guy's kid was just like, "Oh, but Dad, what about Gandhi? He was peaceful." Because his dad was trying to get him to like stand up for himself, and he was like, "Gandhi couldn't think straight because he was hungry."
That's horrible. I was just thinking about Gandhi too. Like, a bunch of like British people show up to my house and like told me to get out. I'd just probably like fight back until I friggin' die. That's the thing, like, I don't know. I'm usually, like, easygoing. Whenever someone tries to infringe on, like, anything I have, I'm like, how about I just chop your hands off? I don't know. I like my stuff.
But, like,
I'd be the type of person who gets held up at, like, gets robbed, and they point their gun at me. It's like, give me your money. I'm like, go fuck yourself. And I get shot in the face.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. But, I guess, well, basically, it's just trying to say that if you allow mainly institutions to, like, you know, enact, they say, like, racist policies or whatever, and you just do nothing the whole time.
Well,
then,
yeah. If you want something, fight for it.
Then you take the side of the oppressor. Then you... Basically, everybody who didn't stand up to the Nazis, a lot of people like to say were basically Nazis.
That makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, like, didn't we talk about this last episode?
Not really.
I feel like we did. We were talking about how, like, the Nazis, like, got away with a lot. I mean...
They didn't
obviously...
Actually, okay, so the thing about the Nazis is that, like, they had to, like, basically fight tooth and nail to, like, gain any power, like.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Like, yeah, that's
true.
Because,
like, there was it was the brown shirts and I forget the blue shirts or something like that.
But, like, people who are fighting them should fight tooth and nail anyway. It's just that people could be scared too. So, like, oh yeah, just take my stuff.
Yeah, it was mainly a fight between the socialists or the communists and the Nazis and the fascists, and the fascists ended up winning.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, you see, the problem is that, like, there's a. You see, the way that I kind of deconstruct things in a particularly interesting way, I think, in my opinion. Like, first of all, violence is bad, and it's
wrong.
Hold on, Jesus fuck. Violence is bad, and people dying is bad, but, like, I mean, the fact that it's sometimes necessary doesn't actually, in my opinion, make it less bad or good. And I think that if you do that, if you like. If you try to, like, make the case that, like, okay, so violence in the service of a good cause makes it good, you have to really be careful. Yeah, like, you have to, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, you have to still align the violence with, like, you know, with a negative connotation, but also tack on the layer that it also might be necessary.
Yeah, but I feel like if violence has been done to you, you might as well do violence on them.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't like just do violence upon, you know, some toddler who just bangs you on the knee with, like, a rattle or something like that.
You little.
Well, like,
play kickball with babies. Like, no, you can't do that.
No, but, like, I mean,
like, obviously, if you're so much more powerful, you shouldn't do it.
Okay, let's how about this? Classic example of how well. Okay, so I forget who his first name was, but Mugabe, like that African warlord, or I think it wasn't a warlord, but he was a leader of, like, an African freedom party. He essentially, like, he retook, I think it was Zimbabwe or something like that, but it was some African nation that had been, like, sort of colonized and was being run by, I believe, the British. This is where you get, like, the South Africans, like, you know, the Afrikaners. He basically liberated his nation, and he basically recommended people like take like the white farmers' land by force and violence. And what ended up happening is that like basically like thousands of people starved because they couldn't
Actually do it.
they couldn't actually work the land properly. A lot of people on his own side died because of he was like rampantly corrupt and et cetera and et cetera. And basically like in a lot of ways his nation just ended up being worse off than it was when it started. But like that's what I want to make the point that it's one thing to look injustice in the face and just be neutral, and it's obviously sometimes necessary to like, you know, try to work against injustice and maybe even a violent way, but you have to, like I said, you have to be careful, or else you can end up making things 1,000 times worse. Like you wouldn't monkey around trying to fix like a helicopter, would you, Mike?
No, why?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, how complicated do you really think all these like things that they're trying to ascertain are? Like, do you think they're as complicated as they're saying, or are they like thousand? Like, they're leagues more complicated than we can ever possibly imagine. Do you think? Like, do you think they're more complicated or just as?
What
complicated?
exactly?
Like intersectionality, like the way that they're sort of describing things. This is like this is the flack that intersectionality kind of gets. Is that it's trying to compartment. Well, I don't think it's the word, but like it's trying to organize something that we, to this day, are so far from truly understanding.
Oh, but I almost just choked. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like how you described it was complicated, but I could see someone easily overcomplicating it.
Yeah. All right.
What about the rest of the quotes?
The thing that makes systematic oppression so difficult to discuss is that when you do, you have to acknowledge your role in it. Often this means having to admit that you're part of the problem. It is not a comfortable experience when you learn you further benefit from the oppression of others. So, Mike, hold on.
I think that one's a loaded question.
It's a little, but like, hold on. So, Mike, according to the strata of the intersectional feminist thought, especially like third wave, you are technically benefiting off of the oppression of me. How dare you?
Don't you get paid more than I do? I just gave you $45 for a dresser. So no, that's kind of not true at all.
But Mike, you're...
Plus you drove me. Oh wait, no, yeah, you did drive me here. That's kind of like you know, I guess like I oppressed your gas. You asked me for $10.
I oppressed your gas.
I don't think it's true, to be honest. I think the only way. Well, never mind. I don't know. I don't think I am. Like, I'm broke. And I don't benefit you off of you. My boss is black. So what is this? How does this count?
Mike, you have been hereby sentenced to thought crime. I'm sorry.
What's the sentence?
I just told you the sentence now.
Well, no, all right, but like, see, it's true though that like certain races are oppressed in certain ways. Like some anyone could oppress anybody, but like.
Hold on, can I tell you something right now?
No. Yeah.
Did you know that married black households with or without children tend to make the same, if not like a little less, and sometimes in some cases a little more. Like they tend to be around the same like class economically as white married families.
Yeah. Which makes perfect. Like, yeah, you have the double income.
Yeah.
So I don't see why you wouldn't.
All
Unless if like your employer decided to pay blacks less or whites less. And I was going more so like there's definitely oppression with like, let's say with like prison systems.
Can I tell you something else?
Yeah.
What if I told you that
You just made that up.
What?
You just made that up.
No, I actually didn't. Well, it might be outdated. It might be a little outdated, but it's apparently they make about the same. What if I also told you that starting out women make more than men, like in starting out professions?
I don't really care, to be honest.
But no, what I'm saying, like listen, according to
Wait, that's true?
Well, yeah.
They make more?
Yeah, starting out and they're also they also drop out less. They also are in general going to college more.
I feel like this more because guys are kind of like volatile, and they're like, if like a lot of guys are like, if something in school pisses them off, it's like, well, I'm just gonna go work in the coal mines or something.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's less. I think working with like your hands stereotypically is less frightening for a guy. It's like, oh yeah, I'll just go like unclog drains or play with wires.
Well, there's some facts that might prove otherwise, but I'll give you the benefit of that. But yeah, those things I told you they're true.
So then, wouldn't I be oppressed by women?
Also, technically, you're supposed to have you're supposed to be more likely to commit suicide than me.
Which is not true.
No, it is. Technically, a white man.
I don't plan on killing myself though. So in this case basis, it's not true.
Yeah.
Or neither of us could kill ourselves, and that would be great.
Well, yeah, but
Or if we kill each other, then we just make a whole new statistic.
Yeah, basically. What's another one? Wait, oh yeah. So
that was pretty gruesome. I shouldn't have said that.
No, but yeah, you're oppressing me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, technically, because you have a higher chance of being in a position of power, I guess.
But I also have a higher position of killing myself.
Eh.
So what do you mean?
So, well, I mean, this is what they call oppression Olympics on the internet. So, like, basically,
would you rather make a 50 cents less than me, or would you rather me be dead? Like,
Mike, this is the oppression Olympics. So technically, like, and this is, I think, like a bogus, like a bogus statistic. Technically, I'm supposed to make like 25 cents less than you or something. Like that. I think like 10 cents less.
I make $11.25 an hour.
I make a lot more than that.
$16.80 on Sundays.
I make like I think around $3 more than that.
Oh, you're oppressing me. Give me your money. Like, no.
All right. We gotta find some way to solve the social stratification, Mike. Let's just launch all of our ICBMs in the whole on the world. If everybody's dead, nobody's oppressed.
That's true. That's not true.
We should resurrect Chairman Mao. He'll fix it. Pol Pot.
That would be another Asian making more money than me. So I guess that means I am owed more
Chairman
money.
Mao. Stop oppressing us, Chairman Mao. All right.
Yeah. Stop being dead. You're oppressing my
life.
Freaking burial space.
All right.
Looks like a cremated.
We didn't get to like the questions, unfortunately, or the Mike's mysteries.
Yeah, this is a very big topic.
Yeah,
we can do one question.
Okay.
I'll answer in a minute and a half.
How much time do we have? Oh, magical force.
A minute. Go quick.
Okay, is there any hope for a non-racist world, and if not, why?
No. And because. Legitimately no, until we're all like literally look the exact
That's right.
same.
That's right. Listen, we got a bunch of intercontinental ballistic missiles in the hole.
See, like that sea brick over there, that's like slightly brighter than that one probably hates it. until
It's whiter, dude.
Until we paint this wall like completely red, well, there'd be
Racism will still exist in the world.
Well, no, because everyone's the same color and everyone's the same. You can't be racist unless you hate yourself.
Buy these headphones. We love you all.
Yeah, my name's Mike, by the way. I didn't get to introduce myself.
Nobody cares about you, Whitey. Anyway, my name's Austin. This has been Tales from the Body Ocean. We're